Welcome to another edition of Talk City Greensboro, produced by GTN, featuring interviews and events happening around town. It's an easy way to stay in the know while you're on the go. Subscribe to Talk City on iTunes, Pandora, SoundCloud, so you can keep up with what's going on in Greensboro city government and beyond. I'm your host, Rodney Dawson, and to my right, Rosemary Flyby.
So glad to be with you. Hey, Rodney, do you have a list of things that you want to do one day?
Yes, I do.
You do? Do you write it down?
I did.
Oh, nice. I love it. Okay.
Ask me how many I've crossed out.
Well, that's all right. You are young, very, very, very young. Yes. We're talking about, places to go, things you want to see, foods you want to try. In other words, a bucket list. Well, today's guest kind of inherited a list from her late father, and it sent her on an adventure, many adventures, really. Author Laura Carney is with us. Hello and welcome.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're so glad you're here. Okay, you're beginning a 2-week residency in Greensboro. We're getting you kind of at the very start. So this is pretty cool. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, tell us about your dad.
Yeah, thanks. You guys are sort of my welcome committee.
Yeah.
And Beth Sheffield over here who's at the library. My dad was a larger-than-life character. He was a singer, he was a comedian, he was a writer, he was a salesman by day, and we didn't know he had a bucket list. He died when I was 25 because of a distracted driver, a driver who was on her phone, and it wasn't until 13 years later, right after I got married, that my brother discovered that my father had kept a bucket list his entire life.
That's pretty cool. So what were some of the things on it?
Oh, well, luckily I had just become a runner. I had just run my first marathon. So when I saw run 10 miles straight, I thought I can do that. And
check.
Yeah. But there were so many sweet things on it in addition to really exciting adventures. There was a typical, he wrote skydive at least once, go sailing by myself, talk with the president. But there were sweet things like, how did it go? Number 12 was give my kids the most love, the best education, and the best example I can give. And it made me sad that he hadn't checked that off. So as soon as I saw that one, that was when I knew I have to finish this for him.
I love that. I love it.
You kind of getting into the question that I had with your last answer. Your dad, you say he was a comedian, a salesperson, and a singer. So he had a myriad of things that could be on that bucket list. But what exactly drew you to change your life, to fulfill it? What connected with you?
Yeah, and I'm an introverted writer, right? So it's like I'm really channeling him when I do these public events. Okay. I had just become an activist, and I really wanted to bring awareness to the way that my dad died. I was working with a lot of safe driving groups. So my immediate thought when I saw it was, what a great way to do that. Because, what's the opposite of a meaningless way to die? A meaningful way to live. Right. And that was my initial instinct. But what actually ended up starting to happen to me was I started to process my own grief that was left over. Who knew? It was 13 years later, but I still had it. And I was processing it in this very unique way because for so long I had been stuck on the moment he died as a tragedy. But now because I was getting to discover the things that really excited him as a human before he was a dad. He wrote it in 1978, the year I was born. So these were the things he wanted to do with his life. So as I was getting to learn who he was more, I was sort of getting to understand what it meant to really pursue a meaningful life for myself, and that I wasn't totally doing that. And it almost gave me permission because I was now doing all of these fun things for him. So I started to associate his death with something good instead of the worst thing that ever happened to my family.
Sounds like
wonderful.
You saw it as a gift. Like
it is a gift. Well,
yeah.
Hey, I got it 6 months after I got married. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, wow. That's pretty cool. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but I want to talk about your time in Greensboro. 2 weeks for a community book read here in Greensboro, really, and really kind of inspiring others to kind of go on an adventure as well and to make to discover what is going to make their life meaningful.
Oh, we're so excited. I mean, we're doing something with One City, One Book that I think has never been done before, which is we're going to host a 2-week bucket list challenge. One of the really cool things I've gotten to do since becoming an author who goes on book tour is I get to teach classes. So I teach a class with do you remember the actress Melissa Gilbert from Little House on the Prairie? She has a brand called Modern Prairie, and I teach a class there called the Bucket List Challenge, where we inspire people to just make a list of 5 things, and we ask them questions. So it's 2 weeks of questions, one every day, and you can do it on a private Facebook page for the library. And we're just going to take people through the steps that we do so that by the end you will at least have checked off one bucket list item. And, it's funny, I have a film festival for this too. They've let me curate 8 films that inspired my book. So I've been rewatching them over the past month, and I was watching the Muppet movie the other day. And in the movie, Kermit says the best dreams are the ones that get bigger when shared. And I thought, that I never got that the same way before, you know? And I thought, that makes so much sense, because my partner, Stacey Lauren, who started the Do the Thing challenge, that's what she teaches people, is the way to get out of your comfort zone is to join a group, and you all have similar goals and you go after them together. So we're really excited to do that. And
naming them. I mean, it's hard to just write it down first, just personally too, but then to put it out there to a group and to share it with others. That's like, okay, now I got to do it. Now I'm going to do it.
That is a difficult step for people, I find, just to even own that, to own, here's dreams I have. And my dad's list, it really wasn't just, crazy adventures he wished he could have. It actually was a list of goals. There were things on there like help Laura win a scholarship, silly things like grow a watermelon, like probably just something you thought, that would be cool. I'd like to see how that, but it's, I think the idea really is just embracing fun, embracing play. And I was 38 when I found this bucket list. So I think at that age, we sort of start to forget how to do that a little bit.
Yeah.
We're here with Laura Carney. She's here for the One City, One Book residency. And so that means we got you for about another 2 weeks or so until October 22nd. And you've been talking about the activities and things where we can engage and the 2-week challenge, which I think should be awesome. But 2 weeks to fill, what other opportunities do we have for folks to look forward to?
I'm so excited because the library has very graciously allowed me to bring so many of my writer friends to this residency. So tonight we have my friend Melanie Brooks, who wrote a wonderful book on writing memoir. It's called Writing Hard Stories. So it's specifically about people who went through something difficult and how do you turn that into a story, and how does that heal you, and how does it heal the people who read it. We're also going to have this weekend on Saturday at 3:00, we're going to have J.T. Hill and Heather Freeze, who Heather writes autobiographical fiction and JT writes memoir, and he's a good friend of mine.
Okay.
So we're going to give some writing prompts and help people really get into it. Next week, my friend Art Milnes, who is a speechwriter for Canadian prime ministers, that's what he used to do. Now he's also a historian and a journalist. He's the one who actually helped me to meet Jimmy Carter when I checked off Talk with the President. So he's just a gold mine of incredible stories, and he's going to be hosting 3 events. One of them we're really excited about. It's actually letter writing. How do you write a letter to important people?
Lost art.
Yeah, and he has a lot of interesting ideas about that. We met with some of the teens already that are going to be the teen version. I'm super proud because my niece Savannah, who is 17, is going to help host that event.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
And then, of course, in the last week, on the finale will be the Tuesday, I believe the 21st. That'll be Curtis Chin and Zelda Lockhart. And I have a good friend who has made a short documentary about my father's list. And we're going to watch their documentaries as well, 2 events that day.
A lot of stuff. How'd you come to put that all together?
I had a lot of help.
Sounds like
it was a collaborative process that was really fun.
Okay.
So much fun. Yeah, I want to take you back. Did you ever find out anything about how your dad wrote the list, or why he wrote the list, or kind of the process he went by?
Well, the only person who knew about it was my mom. And I asked her when this, was it before I was born? Was it a month after I was born? And she said she thinks he added to it as he went during that year. I don't know if it went beyond 1978, but it is interesting, though, to look back. That's a lot of what the book is about, is me trying to research and figure out why did he have these certain things on it. Like one thing, for example, as I said, my dad was an entertainer. He wanted to correspond with the Pope. And what I found really interesting was during that year, that was when I think it was Pope John Paul II had a big visit to the United States. And he was known as like the actor Pope. So I'm sure my dad would have, because he had been an actor before, and then Jimmy Carter, of course, was president at that time. So he actually ended up being the only former president who responded to me when I was looking to do that. So I figure, hey, it does say talk with the president, But when my dad wrote the list, he would have been the
president.
Yeah,
he was the president.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the list, it sort of reads like he was doing something in one day and something occurred to him, and then he just went and added a new thing to it. Which I think is how a lot of people do bucket lists, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we obviously change, you know, when you have a child, it changes, right? Your life changes and it grows.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Someone told me once they think it actually was because I had been born that he did this.
Yeah,
because it made him it made him value his life in a new way.
Yeah, I bet so. And,
we have these bucket lists. Yeah, I'm hearing about them all the time. I've heard about them for years, but never actually created, you know, and tried to fulfill a bucket list. And then when you hear someone like yourself, you get inspired to do so. But I'm thinking you can have plans and to put together your list, but there should be some preparation behind those, some things that you should take heed maybe before. So do you have any advice or some examples you can give for our readers and other adventurers that want to participate and get involved in a bucket list themselves?
It's just have fun. It's just about having fun. That's the thing. I have talked to audiences before where people will ask me something like, well, what if I can't get them all done? And that's the great part. It's not a to-do list. I mean, we all live with these to-do lists every day, right? And we get hard on ourselves if we you know, the never-ending to-do list, right? But the bucket list is like the antidote to that, because this is my fun stuff that I get to do.
Okay.
And a person who makes time for fun, I find, is going to accomplish more anyway in their regular life. And, you know, the other really interesting thing I've discovered is as you start doing your bucket list, you're probably going to become more authentic. You're going to get a little bit closer to who you actually are, because there's a certain vibration there when you do things that you enjoy. It's almost like you become like a little kid again. And little kids always have that, what's the word for it? Student's mind, a beginner's mind. So you're getting yourself into a beginner's mind level. And then the things you actually yearn to do, that you're meant to do, like your calling, they're going to come calling and you're going to hear it because you're more receptive. Whereas if you were just doing the stuff you thought you're supposed to do, you might miss it.
I might have to pass the offering plate, Lord.
Sorry, am I preaching?
I love it. I love it. Well, you know, and it occurs to me too that, you know, maybe you don't want it. The idea isn't to finish the list. It's for it to keep growing. I mean, it's like the horizon's always moving, right? Like you want to keep putting things out there and let that list be long and gloriously long.
Right. And I talk to a lot of parents. I mean, I'm not a parent myself, but I talk to a lot of parents who've told me I really wrote down a list after I read your book. And it's great. I mean, I know parents are very busy and they might not finish all of it, but what a cool thing, what a cool legacy for their children to have so that they can know them not just as a parent, but also as the person they are.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great thing to say. Laura, thank you so much. So many events coming up over the next couple of weeks. Ways to connect with Laura, ways to connect with the book, ways to write your own list if you want. Participate in the challenge. The One City, One Book residency is starting now on October the 7th is the date we're recording that. So You can start at greensboro-library.org. Read the book, My Father's List, join the Bucket List Challenge, and meet Laura all in these next 2 weeks.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Laura Carney, thank you for spending time with us today on Talk City Greensboro.
Oh, thanks, Rodney. I'll see you guys all out there at the library.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And thank you to our listeners and viewers. You can stay tuned in weekly by subscribing to Talk City Greensboro on iTunes, Pandora, and don't forget you can download Talk City from SoundCloud. That's it for this week.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If you like what you hear, please share it with a friend. And don't forget to watch GTN. It's your official source for news and information about the city of Greensboro.
GTN is available on Spectrum Channel 13, AT&T Uverse Channel 99, and Lumos 31.
GTN also streams live on Roku and the city's website at greensboro-nc.gov.